Welcome to the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. In this video we're going to check out the game Dominguez versus Carlsen. At the end we're going to see a very nice tactic by Carlsen, so stick around to see this tactic. Dominguez is white, Carlsen is black. The game began. e4, e5, knight f3 and d6. Normally Carlsen plays knight c6, but after d4 take, knight f6, already we have this imbalance. Knight c3, bishop e7. Carlsen goes for a very quick castling. Bishop f4, castle, queen d2 and c6. Getting ready to expand on the queen side. Two ideas. Maybe b5, but also d5 could be an idea. In the future, castle, b5, f3, supporting the center, but also planning g4. And after b4, this is the critical point in the game, the knight on c3. It can go to e2 or a4, but I did not expect Dominguez to put it back on b1. That really is a tragedy. Knight a4 looks useful because it stops this pawn from going forward, as it did in the game, to create a queenside attack. Knight e2 is also possible, planning to reroute it later, but knight b1 is the move I did not expect. a5, g4, a4. Both sides ready to attack. This is the best kind of chess. h4 and c5. Kicking the knight away, but then you put the knight on c6. So knight f5, and this knight is supported by both pawns. The knight is so strong, also putting pressure on d6. So Carlsen gets rid of it. Take. Now the g file is open. So rook g1 attacking the king. So knight c6, h5 and knight d4. The knight is well placed on d4. Ideas of supporting the pawn, going b3, and the rook can also go to c8. So queen g2. I think we've got two ideas with this move by Dominguez. You're planning rook g1 to threaten mate, but also the knight on b1, it has the chance to get back in the game. So let's just sidestep with king h8, so then rook g8 is possible. And here bishop e3 was played. Dominguez misses a chance. But it's a very weird chance. You don't normally think about it because c3, this is the move he missed. Now why didn't he think about it? Because after take, a good move is to take with a pawn. But then you're exposing your king. But there is a direct tactic coming up. If you move the knight, then e5 is already winning, using the pin on the d file. And this is just so dangerous. So the best move here is actually to keep the knight there, maybe play something like rook b8 and then queen b6. However, Dominguez went bishop e3. Now white has two pieces on the d4 knight, but Carlsen just goes h6. It's okay to give up a pawn because it's all about dark square control. And here Dominguez changes his mind. He doesn't even take the knight on d4. He went bishop d3. Now what happens if take, then take, and then queen b6. And black's attack is so fast. The queen is supporting this. It's attacking the rook. So you deal with the rook and then you push with b3. Either rook can go to c8 or b8. And it's just so dangerous. This knight can reroute to d7. It can go to e5. This bishop can sneak out to g5 to check the king. Therefore, don't take the pawn. Also, throughout this game, it's as if white has been down a piece. The knight on b1 has done nothing. Dominguez played bishop d3, knight d7. Rook g1 and bishop f6, defending against mate on g7, also defending your knight. f4 and rook e8. Bishop d4, c d4. When the pawn captures on d4, now this square is free for the knight. Knight d2, knight c5, knight c4 and b3. A great move is just to lift the d4 pawn off the board. Bear this in mind for a future tactic. So b3, king b1, take with check, bishop takes, and rook b8. So bishop d3, Dominguez blocks. And here rook b4 was played, but there was a stronger option with queen c7. The idea now is to take on d3 and then win the knight. So if you play a bad move like king a1, you're going to take and then pick up the knight. So you might go queen c2, but then rook c8, the pressure is just too much. Knight d3 is next. And if you go bishop f1, d3, everything just collapses. If you go bishop d3, knight d3, queen d3, the knight drops once again. So here, after queen c7, the best move is actually to play this horrible looking knight a3. saving the knight for now, but after take queen b7, we're putting pressure on e4. Rook e1, rook e7. Let's double on the e file. The pressure will be too much. Rook d2, d3. The point of rook d2, maybe you go to e2 to defend, but black can always throw this in. It's just too much. So back to the game. After bishop d3, rook b4. So what's the point of rook b4? After a3, you've got the square b3 to work with. Bishop c2 just back, and maybe the knight can hop into b3, but there's a bit of a weakness around the white king. e5, because what else? If you don't play e5, then black's just going to take over. The queen can go to c7, to b7, putting pressure on e4. Also, after queen c7, this knight can move, so then the queen on c7 attacks the knight on e4. So Dominguez plays the forcing move e5, and this does win the exchange, but that's okay. Black has so much control. Take, and then rook takes. You can't play bishop takes, because we still need this bishop to defend e5. So if you do knight takes, rook takes, then that is checkmate. Here Carlsen sacrifices, rook for knight. Take. Black has total control over the dark squares. This is very difficult for white to play because his rooks do not have easy open files. The bishop on e5 is just too strong, so bishop d3, let's block this diagonal. Bishop f6, queen c2, queen a5, rook g2, and now Carlsen goes for the bishop. Let's take on d3 and then put the queen on d5. And yeah, very difficult for white to make moves, but is white losing? No. But he is after rook e2, and after king h7, Carlsen misses his tactic here. Now, I won't go for the missed chance here because he gets a chance on the next move, and the tactic is the same. So king h7, queen e4, giving him a chance. A good move here is queen h3, because after rook b3, you go rook d3. So you're defending with your major pieces along the third rank. And why do you do this? Is to block the d-pawn from moving. So after queen e4, this is the problem Dominguez fell for. Now the d-pawn can move with a really nice tactic. So pause the video to have a go. I'll give you 5 seconds. Can you see what Carlsen played here to win? The move is rook takes b2 check. King takes b2 played. You can't take with the rook because you still need this rook to defend the queen. So king takes rook, d3 check. Opening up the diagonal. When a king moves, queen c5 check. You can't go back to b1 because after queen b5 check, you can't go to a2 because queen b3 is mate. Bishop controls the long diagonal. You can't go to c1 because you can just take the rook. And then this is just too much. The queen can come in here next. Also, the queen can sidestep. So, for example, with rook d2, let's just finish off. Queen c5 check. King can't go anywhere. Then queen g1 check. So, king here, check. That's it. Forcing promotion. Queen c5 check, back to the game. King d2. Now queen c2 check. King e1, and only one move to win. You can't take the rook, or else white will be winning. If you take this, notice your queen is hanging. And you're not going to trade queens. So there's only one good check here. Bishop h4 check, finishing the game off. And here, Dominguez resigned. If you go rook f2, you'll take it with mate. If you go king f1, well, the rook on d1 is hanging, so you can pick that up with check. Rook e1, and then everything can come off into a very clean pawn ending. Take with check, take, and then g6. And then we're winning. Take, and then black has a runner on the h-file. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. If you enjoyed the show, then like the video and subscribe to the channel at the same time. Make sure you hit that bell, then YouTube will let you know when I release a new video.